We are here. It is official. It's SEC Media Days week. This is the opening day of SEC Media Days, and we are excited to cover it all right here on the Voice of College Football. Guys, welcome on in to the Voice of College Football as usual. I'm your host, Lucas Hill. Thank you for joining us on what should be a very, very fun live reaction and analysis of the first day of SEC Media Days. Greg Sankey came to the stage. We had LSU come to the stage. As of right now, we still have, I think, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and Missouri. Y'all can correct me on that if that is not the case. But anyways, about that, guys, we're going to be breaking it all down right here on South Carolina Live at the Voice of College Football. So everybody do us a favor. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Make sure you turn on that bell notification so that you are notified every time we go live here on South Carolina Live. If you're watching this on X, make sure you do us a favor. Drop a comment down below. Make sure you give us a follow on the socials at Lucas_Hill23. Follow the Voice of College Football at THEVOCFB. Always make sure you repost that thing as well. Want to thank our good friends real fast over at Amazon before we continue any further with our instant reaction of SEC Media Days. And for more information, here's Mark.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the Voice of College Football.
So I say let's do us a favor. Let's hear what Greg Sankey had to say in his opening remarks. We'll listen to Brian Kelly. We'll listen to Shane Beamer. That's the most important thing that we are going to listen to. And then we'll take some of your calls. We'll take some of your comments, your questions, your concerns for your respective SEC team going into this season. And we're excited to bring that, guys. We're really, really excited to give you a little preview of what's to come here at SEC Media Days, guys. We're really excited. So it's LSU, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Vanderbilt. That's my mistake. But regardless of that, we are excited to bring you this. So I'm trying to look for Sankey's press conference. We'll do a little reaction. We'll talk about it for a little bit. I know he had a full there it is. So let's go ahead and let's break his statement down.
To Music City. It's great to be here today. I have a script, but I'm going to do something for which I have no permission, which makes everybody feel awkward.
Oh,
it's not permission from my staff that matters. I'm really, really proud to stand up here and tell you that last Tuesday, my wife Kathy and I became grandparents for the first time. So in addition to boring all of you, our new granddaughter and her parents are watching.
Hey,
on and on this.
That's what I'm talking about.
Expectations for that relationship. It is good to be here with you today in Music City. Good to be looking towards football season. It's actually the perfect year.
Atlanta's the Music City? Wait. Atlanta's the Music City. Are you sure? That's a gaffe right there.
For us to be here, not because of the construction, but because the season for us begins in Nashville, just up the road on Vanderbilt's campus on August 26th. when Hawaii visits Vanderbilt. And then the next week, we're back down Broadway across the river,
Right.
11 a.m. for Virginia and Tennessee. And then later that night, Vanderbilt plays game 2, hosting Alabama A&M. So really a good intersection of football for us in Nashville. We do something unique in the Southeastern Conference. Actually, we do a lot unique, one of which is we have started to move media days to new locations. If you take away the
When y'all
2
gonna
years
come to
of COVID,
Louisiana?
we've now been Birmingham, Atlanta, and Nashville. And there are many thanks and a great deal of work. Thanks first to our staff, who spends an entire year planning to make these 4 days productive for you. Our hosts here at the Grand Hyatt Nashville, the general manager, Mark Sternagel, and the director of events, Max, is our home for basketball franchises. Will provide you as for the long time. That tomorrow night you have Nashville for the last few decades that are being replaced. On Lower Broadway, there's a stage being built. We'll host SEC Nation, the kickoff on 3 p.m. to talk about her work with the Southeastern Conference. She started in that role a year ago. It's a unique role, and she'll have much to share. I encourage your attendance Wednesday at 3 p.m. And Thursday morning, our friends from the National Football Foundation will be here to talk about the foundation's work, talk about the College Football Hall of Fame. And we're really excited about this year's class of Hall of Fame inductees, including Tennessee's Eric Berry, Missouri's Jeremy Maclin, Florida's Tim Tebow, and a name that's special to all of us in the SEC office, Roy Kramer. Roy will be entering the College Football Hall of Fame based upon his accomplishments at Central Michigan, but his impact on the Southeastern Conference and on all of college football is worthy of Hall of Fame recognition. In fact, Wednesday evening on the SEC Network, we'll be premiering a program focused on Roy, which I know makes him enormously uncomfortable. It's entitled Roy Kramer, A Vision for the SEC. I encourage you to tune in Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on the SEC Network. If there's anything that our dedicated staff or our group of volunteers can do for you to make this a productive 4 days, please let us know. Nashville, just based on my description and our reality, is one of the homes for the Southeastern Conference, with our basketball tournament being held here annually now, Vanderbilt University being located in Nashville, and its impact on this community. The capital of the volunteer state is located here in Nashville, and it's a state that hosts 2 of our member universities. And the reality is Music City is a home to many, many students, alums, parents, family members.
I'll say this. It would have been easier if Media Days was in Nashville. I understand why they moved it from there. It was to just help out a lot with the construction, but yeah, so.
And preferences. So we're not in a relaxed way. And the 2024 SEC Men's Basketball Tournament at Bridgestone Arena is our guest. Words and gestures are one thing, but they really don't express our appreciation for the service, the leadership, and the commitment by dedicated individuals serving to help, support, and respond in times of emergency to our communities.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen. Since we gathered last year in Atlanta, we've experienced our own loss on our campuses. We've lost student athletes. We've lost head coaches, assistant coaches, athletics department staff members, along with retired leaders, coaches, and contributors. And we mourn each of those passings. Last year in Atlanta, one of my backstage conversations was about the uselessness of neckties.
What the heck?
It was a conversation that went much longer than I anticipated. Former SEC student athletes earned the #1 pick in the College World Series final of the Southeastern Conference. About taking away this new name, image, and likeness opportunities. In many ways, it's been a net positive for young people. But we all know there are stories. Some stories told and others not told, of promises made but not fulfilled, of
See, this is where we get into the problem with the College Sports Commission, is because of all of these deals that were not supposed to be passing. Now they're saying, oh, well, 48% of them is not going to get passed, and now 94% of them are going to pass. Make it make sense.
inducements offered but not provided, of empty commitments, of NIL agreements that created more questions than provided answers, and other behaviors in this space that rightly cause concern. And the reality is our student athletes deserve something better than a patchwork of state laws that support their name, image, and likeness activity, if support is the right word. Our student athletes deserve something better than a race to the bottom at the state legislature level, as the efforts are made to create what are perceived as a competitive edge through state laws that are not overseen. Future student athletes, those who right now might be 15 or 16 or 17 years old, they deserve something better than to need to sort through a fully unregulated marketplace, being approached by individuals who present themselves as something that they may not be, where anyone can purchase card stock and run it through a printer and call themselves an agent on a business card, and then engage in making offers to young people that are neither transparent, that are not that do not include protections that many of us would expect to be normal. It makes it difficult for young people to both understand and navigate this free-for-all as they're trying to make life-guiding and life-changing decisions.
Bro, they don't get it.
To our knowledge, no state has taken action to enforce its own state laws around name, image, and likeness activity.
But y'all are going to try and turn this into a federal thing. That's where your problem is going to lie.
At the same time, we've seen in a number of states laws enacted that bar associations, the NCAA or conferences, including the Southeastern Conference, from enforcing what at our level, at the conference level, are still to be adopted, if ever, NIL policies. In other words, the states haven't been active in enforcing laws, and now states are preventing the NCAA or conferences from adopting and enforcing reasonable name, image, and likeness standards. If states will not enforce the laws, and states are going to prohibit the NCAA or conferences from enforcing these reasonable policies, congressional action is then the only way to provide a national uniform standard for name, image, and likeness activity, and to draw the lines around the boundaries that do not become simply pay for play. Now, these realities I've described are in contrast to what we hear from our student athlete leaders who gathered with us in late June. Our student athletes continue to ask for uniformity in name, image, and likeness policies across the country. Our student athletes want to know their competitors on the opposite line of scrimmage are subject and governed by the same rules and policies by which they are governed. Uniformity will ensure a high school student and his or her family do not have to investigate potentially dozens of different state laws or university policies to figure out how they can be active in this name, image, and likeness world. Student athletes ask for our help in guiding them through these challenges. We are used to providing support, and they want protections for themselves and their teammates, and they want opportunities for their international teammates that are consistent across the country under this name, image, and likeness heading. And they want the same for their competitors. I think you know there's also been an ongoing effort to deem student athletes as employees of institutions or conferences or the NCAA. I have yet to have a conversation with an engaged, participating student athlete who says they want to be deemed an employee of their institution or the conference. Efforts like those that have happened in California, mandating revenue.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Mandating revenue? You know what that is going to end up doing? When you mandate revenue, then I mean, what? The fact that he says California is doing something great, I just cringe.
Create new threats around the support of Olympic and women's sports. The bill that was introduced that has
Well, the problem with them is that they're not going to get as much NIL money as the major sports like basketball and baseball.
been delayed failed to adequately recognize the existing requirements of Title IX, and we were pleased to see the engagement and the efforts of the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee to share their concerns along with the Women's Sports Foundations. Efforts to simply upend the collegiate model place in jeopardy the opportunities for thousands of student athletes for decades to come. Our current student athletes are accustomed to attending college thanks to athletic scholarships. They benefit from unlimited nutritional support.
And unlimited money now that you got NIL in place.
We're accustomed to providing mental wellness. They have post-eligibility medical care. They have academic support so that they can achieve their academic goals. And our primary objective is to continue these broad-based, widespread opportunities through experiences, friendships, learning opportunities, competitive opportunities that are inherent in the higher education setting and a continuing focus for those of us in college athletics. The reality is, only Congress can fully address the challenges facing college athletics. The NCAA cannot fix all of these issues. The courts cannot resolve all of these issues. The states cannot resolve all of these issues, nor can the conferences. Whether congressional action is achievable is a matter of debate, much debate. But educational opportunity, supporting equitable opportunity.
You know what? I think we kind of get the point here. He's just discussed. This is basically his discussion of the state of the SEC. I thought that was going to be something like, okay, well, we're going to discuss this. And we're going to discuss. Let's just go to Brian Kelly, to be honest with you. Let's talk about LSU. Let's go to what the Tigers have going on and getting ready for 2025. Let's talk it.
This is my 10th, it's my 11th year as commissioner, my 10th media days. We had that COVID thing. We now have added arrows that tell you to go down on the right side and up on the left side on the stairs. So apparently we had a traffic jam recently. Brian Kelly will be the first coach of 2025 SEC Football Media Days. He has more victories during his college coaching career, which includes Grand Valley State, Central Michigan, Cincinnati, Notre Dame, and LSU. More victories than any other active head coach in college football. In his 3 years with the Tigers, Brian's won 29 games, including back-to-back 10-win seasons in 2022 and 2023, along with 17 victories in conference competition. Last year, his third with the Tigers guided LSU to a 9-4 mark with a 3-game winning streak to end the season and a bowl win over Baylor in the Texas Bowl. He's a native of Everett, Massachusetts, a 4-year letter winner at linebacker and 2-time team captain.
Good God, Sankey, good God.
LSU.
It's an exciting part of this month because we're close to football season, and clearly, as a football coach, we love this part of the year. I think what stands out to me is that when I get this opportunity to talk to everybody, it's really about generating the continuous excitement from our fan base for LSU football. We have an incredibly passionate fan base. We've sold over 75,000 season tickets. We lead the country in season ticket sales. And so as we get close to the season, you know, you get these opportunities in front of the media, and I know you want to talk specifics. You want to talk about some of the hot topics that are confronting us.
I can give you one. Can you finally get over the hump?
Confronts me is how we continue to generate the incredible support. And
Bruh. So you know what I've noticed since BK has been at LSU? His accent has gotten worse. He's went from a normal northern guy, a normal Michigan. The guy's from Michigan, let me know. Let me just tell you. He's never been anywhere near the South to coach except for bowl games. Since what? Forever? And in 2022, he starts finally just changing his accent to sound a little more Southern, trying to get a little more Southern in his accent, which is not going to work out for the end of the way. Do I need to remind him of what he did a couple years ago? I didn't think so.
that means, what are we about to do? And that is continue the vision of graduating champions at LSU. Every single day, that's what we talk about. I know you find that hard to believe in a sense, but that's what we talk about. We are still college. This is still about college. This is not the NFL. And that's a great thing for a guy like myself that started in Division II and has worked my way through 5 different programs. It's really about the student athlete and the relationships with student athletes and helping them get to that goal of graduating and helping them get to that goal of winning championships.
Really?
And so we have a clear process in place for our guys. And that process is what I love to do. I come up here every year because I love the relationships with players. I love developing our players. I love the ability on a day-to-day basis to have a transformational relationship with them. So when they leave our program, they're successful in the NFL, they're successful in life. And I know sometimes it's sound bites and, quick observations, but that's my life work. I'm much more interested in the significance of what we're doing than just the success. And so I start my talk with you about certainly excited for our fan base and this season, but I'm more excited for our players and the opportunity that they're going to get to continue in this developmental process. So, when you talk about how you get there, you need to look at where we started. And when we started in 2022, we didn't have a full roster. We needed to upgrade our guys' mindset as it relates to academics. And we've been able to do that with this first year in 2025, having a perfect GSR. And that, to me, are some of the underpinnings that I know you're more interested in talking about other things, but this is what excites me about LSU football. Our ability to graduate our players now and to move them on and see the success that they're having in the NFL because they're prepared. They're ready to handle what the NFL has to offer them. And so for me, that's success, right? That is its success because it's significant. We're talking about young men that are now able to get a degree and play for championships and move on to whatever their vocation is. Look, the expectations are always high, and we've got some outstanding players. I think you start always with the quarterback and Garrett Nussmeier. I think when you look at Garrett, what he brings is a mindset of a coach's son. And that is, I'm always looking to improve. Every day he comes to workouts, every day he comes to practice, he's looking for areas to improve on. Now, I would tell you that experience is going to be his best teacher in the SEC. Having obviously played a year in the SEC and has seen what needs to happen on a consistent basis is most important, but he brings the individual trait that coaches love because he wants to be taught. He wants to be coached. He wants to be coached hard. He wants to be coached in a manner that gets him to be the best version of himself. And I love that about Garrett. We've got Whit Weeks here today. Whit is our driver. He brings the passion. But passion without focus is irresponsible, and he's not that. He's got incredible focus. He's got incredible passion, and it rubs off on our entire defense. And he wants to obviously outplay his brother West Weeks, who's a pretty darn good player as well. But now add Harold Perkins back to the mix, who was out with an ACL last year, a player that can make plays all over the field, and it gives us an incredible linebacker group. And Chris Hilton is with us today as well. And I want to say, Chris had a very difficult injury last year, one that really didn't allow him to be the player he is. He runs 22 miles an hour. He's a guy that can go get the football. He can change games, and we didn't have him virtually the entire year. And that was frustrating to him, and it was difficult for him. But he fought through it. He had a great end of the season for us. And I love the way that he has now used his personality, which isn't one that if he gets up here, he's not going to say a lot, but he's respected by his teammates because of what he does every day and how he does it and how he handled injuries last year. Many of you know that we went into the transfer portal to really build depth, championship level depth across the board. Guys like Patrick Payton from Florida State, Baron Brown from Kentucky, Nick Anderson, Jack Pyburn, Bowers Sharp, just to name a few.
I played against
land at the safety position and corner.
I know Bowers Sharp personally. He was a Southeastern Lion before.
Corner position. I could go on, and I've missed some of them, and I'll make sure that when I get to some of these other locations, I bring their names up as well, because so many of them are deserving to be talked about. But what I want to finish with, and more importantly, is that LSU offers the most incredible game day experience in college football. And we do pretty darn good in baseball. We do pretty good in gymnastics. We do in all of our other sports. But the game day experience at LSU is incredible. And it's because of our fans. They're so passionate and so knowledgeable. When you go into that stadium, they are watching the game. They are following every play. And that, as a football coach, that's the captive audience that any speaker wants, that any teacher wants. It is such a captivating audience, and they are so passionate about LSU football that they for us. As you know, I had $1 million gift, my wife and I, to help support our NIL. That was a lead gift because I knew how passionate our fan base was. We had 1,600 supporters follow that up. That raised that number to about $3.5 million. That's the kind of passion that we have at LSU. It comes back to the one goal that I started with, and that is we want to graduate our players and play for championships. And whether it's on the field, in the classroom, in the community, it's developing great young men on a day-to-day basis. And that's the significance for me. And it's wrapped in that much more than just the success. So I know everybody's excited about the season. Everybody here is excited about it. And we're certainly looking forward to the opportunity because we open up with a great program in Clemson. I know Dabo very well, respect him and his program and the accomplishments they've had. We've played against each other several times when I was at Notre Dame, and just have a ton of respect. But we've also been 0-3 in openers at LSU under my watch, and we needed to do some things differently this year, and that is embrace this opener and embracing it in a manner that this is a big game, and it's a tangible goal for our football team to want to be 1-0. It's not, let's warm it up into the season. We want to be ready for this football game. And so we're doing everything in our power to give our players the opportunity for that success. So exciting season, excited about the ability to continue to develop our program and our players, and looking forward to our opener against Clemson University. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach Kelly. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Emma, Annie, or Nathan will get a microphone to you. Again, if you can stand and please give your name and affiliation, that will help. Coach, we're going to go right over here to our right. Scott.
Hey, Brian, Scott Rabelais from the Baton Rouge.
I know you, Scott.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we
Very formal.
yeah, well, trying to look nice for the first.
You're doing a great job.
What you mentioned your donation and the other donors' donation to try to build the roster this year to get to a championship level. How sustainable is that long term, not only at LSU, but for other programs of similar resources who are trying to make these commitments?
I'm not going to do $1 million every year. No, I know that wasn't your question. I'm kidding. Look, I think it's the nature of where we are in college football. We have revenue sharing. We have NIL. Look, we're early on in the process here, right? This is kind of the first step towards what we're trying to put together. I'm excited about college football. I'm excited that we have something in place relative to revenue sharing. NIL is still something that we have to navigate through. So to answer your question succinctly, I think we still have to be thinking about how we continue to build our support for NIL, because it's not going away, and nor should it, as well as revenue sharing. I think we're in the first stages of where we need to be, but we have to still be moving in that direction.
Coach, we'll go straight down the center aisle.
Hey, Coach. Emily Grace McWhorter from the next round. Historically, LSU quarterbacks in the past have had a pretty significant jump from year one to year two. What do you anticipate Garrett Nussmeier's being as he gets that experience like you mentioned in year two?
That's a good question, Emily. I would say that when you're comparing him to Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow, that's a high bar for anybody, right? But Garrett is at LSU because he loves LSU and he wants to lead our football team to a championship. And if the Heisman follows with that, I think he's good with that. But I answer the question this way is because all of our conversations with him aren't about individual goals. They're about how do I lead this football team to a championship? And all we've seen is him leading, him being selfless. And his selflessness is going to be the differentiator from last year to this year, as well as the experience that he had playing against really good SEC teams.
Coach, we're going to go over here to our left on the third row, on the far aisle.
Jonathan Williams with the On SI Network. You've had some really successful offenses during your time at LSU. I'm curious to hear what you want, some improvements you want from your defense this season, though.
Well, I think we've got an outstanding defensive coordinator and a defensive staff. Blake Baker is in my opinion, elite in the field of defensive coordinators. We needed to give him some more tools. And look, I've been the head football coach at LSU, and I know that we have not played the kind of defense necessary to win a national championship. I think we put a roster together in this offseason, along with young players that have taken lumps along the way as they've developed, and given Blake now the tools to play championship level defense. Because clearly, the 2023 offensive football team we had was good enough to win a national championship. We weren't good enough as a team. And a lot of that had to do with addressing some shortcomings we had on defense. We think we've done that. I love our roster. I love our team and the way they interact, the camaraderie of our group, the seriousness and focus, their intent. So I think we're going to have a defense that is going to be representative. And look, anytime you go on the road and play a team like Clemson, you better bring a defense with you.
Coach will go right down in front of me in the second row Tom?
Coach, really sorry about the bad advice on the elevator.
Listen, I'll tell you what, this is a massive undertaking from where I've been over the last couple of years. He's referring to, I got lost yesterday for about an hour in the Omni. I worked my way out of it, and I blamed you.
Just for a small part. Tom Murphy, Arkansas Democrat Gazette. LSU's traditionally played in-state schools. I wonder what you think the benefits and maybe any, bad points to doing in-state schools in football.
Well, when you're trying to balance a schedule, and I've been a proponent of playing the toughest schedule that we can relative to the SEC, there needs to be balance to your schedule as well, because you're looking at opportunities you want to give to your players. You want them to play for championships too. So you don't play 12 SEC schools. So now you're open with 2 opportunities. And in the state of Louisiana, we have such a passionate base. Why not play the schools from your own state and share in the revenue? Share around. If we're going to have to pay somebody to come in and play us, why not pay your in-state schools and take care of them? And we've got some great schools. We're going to play Louisiana Tech and Southeast Louisiana this year, and we're excited about those. So it's really about sharing with those that are in the state.
Did he just say Southeast Louisiana? Southeastern, brother. Southeastern. Get my school right, please. Please. By the way, Southeastern student right here.
And balancing the schedule.
Coach, we'll go straight down that main aisle, just over to the right.
Coach Mike Griffith, Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Hey, Mike.
Good to see you. I want to ask you, about, reflecting back on the SEC spring meetings, the narratives that the mood shifted in the room on the different playoff models. If you could share some insight as to why that shifted, one, and then two, another popular narrative is that the Big Ten wants to see the SEC increase their number of league games to get on board. Just kind of your thoughts on that, having coached in that region for several years as Notre Dame's winningest head coach.
Well, thank you for that last piece. That was very nice of you. The check is in the mail. Here's what I would say. Both of those work together. The 2 questions that you have, and this is what I mean, is that I think we would push for as many teams as possible if they were evaluated based upon what their schedule looks like. And so that's why both of those questions kind of dovetail together, in that if we're talking about win-loss record, they're not all the same.
Right.
Based upon what conference you're in and who you play.
Because you got to think about this, guys. Because let's dive and come in for a little bit. When you talk about a program like a conference like the Big Ten, you're talking about a huge freaking pool of teams that are in that conference. When you compare that to SEC-wise, the SEC does not have a whole lot that they can do with their non-conference. The problem is that that's when they start to say, oh, well, you need to shift to all conference schedule. Okay, well, how does that affect us money-wise? Because you're talking about potentially taking away a lot of revenue with these non-conference schedules that some people may criticize Brian Kelly for. Guys, they generate a lot of money at the end of the day. A lot of money. And it helps too with the $20.5 million coming in. Now that you bring that into play, you also are adding more money to the mix.
So that are in this probably have a lot to do with how are we going to select them?
Yeah.
What's the selection process going to be? And I think at the end of the day, that selection process will probably be having the end in mind first. And that will then generate the answers to the other questions in terms of how many teams
All right. So we'll go ahead. That's pretty much a wrap on what I really wanted to talk about when it comes to with LSU. Let's go on and let's talk about Shane Beamer and company. So Shane Beamer hit the stage on SEC Media Days.
Okay, we have Coach Beamer, and he is ready for your question. We'll start on the left side, third row.
Good morning, Coach. To your left. Hi. Hey, Coach. AP Stedham of AP as we see it. Coach, what did your team do well last year, and what would you like to do better this year with your team?
Yeah, I would say we got better as the season went on. I think you always look at a team, how do they improve from week one to the end of the season? And there's no question we all improved as the season went. So that'll be critical to do. We were very opportunistic on defense in regards to taking the ball away and creating turnovers. We need to continue to do that. And then I think for us, it would be a lot that we can be better at. You're always looking at how you can improve, but a couple things. We need to be better at protecting the football offensively, and we'd like to score more touchdowns in the red zone. You look at us, I think we had the same number of trips to the red zone last year that Alabama did, but yet they had, I want to say, 7 more touchdowns than we did. So we need to make sure when we get down there, it's hard to score in this league, as you guys know. When we get down there, we need to make sure we're converting those drives into touchdowns.
Front row, and then pass it to your left, please.
Hey, Shane, your 5th SEC Media Days as Carolina's head coach. What would you say is the difference in how this program is perceived from that first year to now this year?
A lot in regards to, I think about this every year coming to this event in 2021 over in Hoover, and there weren't very many expectations for that team. There was a national reporter that week that said the ceiling for our program in 2021 was 2 wins was the ceiling. And now here we are 5 years later, and y'all are having conversations about Lenora Sellers being a Heisman Trophy candidate, and people are talking about this team being a playoff team. And we embrace that, Rick. We embrace the expectations, but it's certainly changed in regards to how we're seen. There's more attention on us and more people that want to talk about South Carolina football than what there was in 2021. But we're also very respectful and very cognizant of the fact that it's truly year to year. Every season's a new season. We've come a long way since 2021, but we're not slowing down by any stretch of the imagination, and understanding that we did a lot in 24, but 25 is a new year. And regardless of what people are saying about us or how we're perceived, we ultimately have to go play and coach good football, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Stay in the front row and then pass it to your left.
David Cloninger, Post and Courier. Shane, DQ Smith is here with you today. How rare is it to have a 4-year starter, to have him all that time, and for the guy to start for all 4 years and play at a high level? Yeah,
Certainly rare in today's time, for sure, because of the portal, you don't see a lot of that. But that's why I love DQ's story, David, and from covering us regularly. I mean, the guy's a high school quarterback that I think Georgia Southern was the only school that we had to beat for him. It shows how smart we are as coaches. We were actually initially having conversations with him about gray shirting, which I don't even know if you still do that, where you don't even come the fall of your freshman year. You come the following January as well, because we weren't quite sure he was going to be ready to play for us or that we'd have a scholarship. Not only, thank God, did we not do that, we brought him in, and then by game 3, he's starting for us. I think his first start ever was against Georgia in 2022 as well. And then to see how he has just continued to grow on and off the field, super proud of him, love what he's about. And it's a great, testament to, one, the development in our program, but you don't hear those stories much more anymore. You hear about the 5-star recruits that come and get a lot of money and go play 3 years and go to the NFL. Here's a guy that played high school quarterback, got no money to come to South Carolina, and has played his butt off for his career, has gotten better, is a leader on our team, and is now here in Atlanta for SEC Media Day.
Front row.
Dick Cox with Lindy Sports, Cox Sports Broadcasting. Coach, you are a special teams guru. How do you feel going into the season having to replace everybody on your special teams?
Not very good, to be honest. In all my years of coaching, Dick, and I don't think, and I'm going to say this downstairs or wherever the main media room is later, but I don't think in all my years of coaching I've ever been a part of a team where you have to replace literally every key special teams component from the year before. Our punter, our kicker, our long snapper, our holder, our kickoff returner, and our punt returner are all going to be new as well. And we've got some guys that have done it return kicks wise, whether it be Nick Harbor or Jalen Kilgore, but not primarily.
It's going to either be Jalen or
I
it's
like
going to be
the young
Nick
guys
Harbor
that we
that's going to
have.
be
There's no
returning
question
kicks.
about it. The guys that we have in those roles, we've got some guys that have kind of waited their turn behind our previous specialists. We've got some guys that we've brought in as well that we have high expectations for. So that's what's exciting and cool about coaching is guys leave, and now you get a chance to develop the next guy. And that's what we're doing. Joe DiCamillo is leading our special teams. It's a big challenge for us, but something that we've been hard at work on since January and eager to, get those guys out there and get them going.
Right side, third row.
Trevor Denton, Wade 31. Right after that Alabama game is when you guys go on that winning streak to close out the regular season. How did that Alabama game kind of change the trajectory of your 2024 season?
Yeah, I think it's a couple things. One, we need to plan better. Y'all got me in here at the same time. Commissioner Sankey's doing his remarks. No wonder. That's a full room. Appreciate the local guys being here as well. I would say a couple things. One, that was.
My question is, I like Coach Sankey, but golly, I just couldn't. I just could not be in a room just listening to him and not being able to ask questions. I'm going to the freaking breakout.
Because Lenore is continuing to just take the next step after that game. The Ole Miss game, I think, was the week before, and that was game 5. And the Ole Miss game was the first SEC game that Lenoris had played in its entirety because he missed the second half of the LSU game and he missed part of the first half of the Kentucky game with an injury. So he was a young quarterback that was going to continue to get better. He did a lot of really good things in Tuscaloosa that day. So he took another step and continued to get better. But I'd say the other thing would just be us as a team at that point. There was a lot of frustration, and in that locker room after that game, there was very much a feeling of enough's enough. Like, we're tired of this feeling. And we came back in. I met with some of the leaders on our team, like I always do, the following week, and they sat in the staff room where we meet. And I'll never forget Debo Williams, our starting linebacker, saying, I asked him, like, hey, what's on y'all's minds and what's your thoughts? And they said, we're winning out. We ain't losing a game the rest of the season. And it gives me chills thinking about it. And that's what we did. So it was the leadership on our team just saying, we're tired of this and enough's enough. And then us as a team, particularly our young quarterback, just continuing to get better.
That's what I want to end off that one on. Your young quarterback getting better. All right. We're going to take the last 10, 15 minutes that we're on here. We're going to take your phone calls. Click the link. Click the StreamYard link. Y'all know how to do it. Click it. Join the live stream. I want to hear your thoughts, guys. I want to hear your thoughts to whether it was Shane Beamer or whether it was Brian Kelly's Media Day reactions, or if you just got a question regarding Media Days. Guys, come on into the chat. Come on into the show. Let's talk some ball. Let's talk about what's going on around SEC Media Days. Would really love you guys' thoughts on all that's going on. By the way, Uno as a table game in Vegas. How does that work out? That's kind of wild to me, to be honest. Uno? I can see why. But at the same time, really? Really? Okay. So let's continue on with that, what I want to kind of talk about. If you guys want to come in, call in the show, click the link. I just posted it on the YouTube page. If you want to join in on X, it's in the comments section. Or I also posted it in the link in my bio. Or I think it's on the top of my pin page as well. But regardless, guys, one of the things that I took away from what Beamer said throughout his entire whole media days ordeal is that you got to replace a lot on special teams. That's one of the things that we haven't talked about, is that you have a lot that you need to really replace when it comes to your special teams. It is a huge ordeal that you're losing that much talent on your special teams. It's a big ordeal, guys. It really is. And it's one that I think that a lot of people need to take into consideration. But I do think that it's going to be better for South Carolina as we continue on throughout the season. You're going to eventually find a guy at the end of the day. And I think Coach Beamer said it best. It's either going to be Jalen Kilgore or it's either going to be Nick Harbor. I would say all likelihood it's going to be Harbor. Kilgore's got good speed, but I would feel much more comfortable with a guy like Harbor who's going to be back there. He's a lot shiftier. He knows how to work in space. And he's got great instincts throughout the majority of his almost essentially he's got eyes in the back of his head, which is incredible to me. And I think that because of that, you're going to find a guy that's going to run north and south. He's not going to try and make something out of nothing. He's going to get you plenty of yardage at the end of the day. But regardless of that, guys, this has been a pretty good day. I don't think Vandy and Ole Miss has entered the stage yet. I know that there's going to be a lot going on throughout this entirety of the week. We will be live all week covering it all. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let me tell you guys, you're going to be in for a treat because we're covering not just all of what South Carolina has. We'll be live tomorrow. We'll be live Wednesday. We'll be live Thursday for all 4 media days. We may even go live tonight to do a complete recap, talk about the key moments that we saw during media days. We may have some guests come on. By the way, we'll have our SEC predictions going on throughout the season, throughout the rest of this week. We'll be starting some of those videos today. We'll have Tennessee. We'll talk all around the SEC, guys. We are really, really excited for that. So, guys, we'll give it about 5 more minutes. If you guys have anything that's on your mind, click the StreamYard link. Call in. It's easy. If not, hey, do what fits you best, guys. I mean, if you don't want to do that, just call my number. LOL. But yeah, man, what are you guys' initial thoughts to SEC Media Days? Just with what Beamer had to say, what Coach Brian Kelly had to say. If some of you even watched Whit Weeks with what he had to say, Whit Weeks was fired up whenever he went on the stage. That just shows you the type of leader that Whit Weeks is to that LSU squad. Earl Schubert says SC is going 9-3 or 10-2. Earl, let me be honest with you, brother, because I don't know if you're a regular listener or not. I have told a lot of South Carolina fans, keep your expectations low. They can go 9-3 or 10-2, but keep them low because you never know with what to expect from South Carolina over the course of this season. Because this is all dates all the way back to 22, I believe. Because what we saw in 2022, boom, you're not expected to do a whole lot going into the season. You end up winning 9 games. Then you go into 23. You're expected to be a 8, 9, 10 win team. Boom, you finish 5-7 because your defense basically fell apart. Then you looked at what happened last year Young quarterback, young roster, not expected to do much. Boom, you go on a 6-game winning streak, and you're one of the hottest teams in college football. So what are our expectations in 25? To me, you got to keep them low. I have them going 7-5 or 8-4. I think on the likelihood they will go 8-4. We'll see what that Missouri game looks like. But apart from that, guys, I do like what South Carolina has to offer. I've been very high on what you've gotten in the portal. I've been very high about what you have in the backfield, even though you don't have Roswell Faison, which is stupid. But we'll see, man. Earl comments again. My Georgia Bulldogs going 11-1 if we don't slip up against a team that's not Texas. That other team would be either Florida or Alabama. That's your only two ones that I have on my mind. People are going to look at the stats and say DJ Lagway didn't do a whole lot with trying to lead Florida to a win against Georgia. Guys, you need to watch the whole game again. Guys, DJ Lagway was absolutely cooking throughout that game. He was just getting hot, and then he gets hurt. So, when you're down, you lost with a third-string quarterback. So, my only concern about Georgia is that I'm not really confident in Gunnar Stockton, to be honest with you. And I can get hate on in the comments and say, oh, well, Gunnar Stockton's this, Gunnar Stockton's that. Guys, Gunnar Stockton is probably the last option that you wanted going into 2025. In my opinion, if he isn't benched by the middle of the week, I'll be shocked. Mike Bobo, I don't know why you still retained him. Because he's not an effective play caller. His offense has been outdated for damn near 20 years. The only bright spot is that you still kept Glenn Schumann when I thought he was going to go take a head coaching job elsewhere. But I think that's another good thing because it gives him another year to learn with Kirby. So that's my own thoughts when it comes to this. When it comes to Georgia, we'll talk about Georgia sometime either next week. Jordan Hill's at Media Days. We'll see if he wants to come on and come talk some ball. We'll see what happens. I don't think Bama is a complete team. They have questions at quarterback, and Ryan Williams can't be the only wide receiver doing all the work. Yeah, I mean, they have their receiving core is probably the deepest that I've seen. With Ryan Williams, you've got Jeremy Bernard, you've got Isaiah Horton, who was a dog at Miami, and you got Ryan Williams. Or Jalen Mbakwe, excuse me. I think the reason why people have questions at quarterback is because of what Alabama has coming in. You don't have a guy that has plenty of experience. I wouldn't say it's like what Bama did with Jalen Milroe's first full year as a starter, because guys, Jalen Milroe got experience being behind Bryce Young because Milroe got plenty of playing time. I think he came in after Young got hurt during the Arkansas game and Milroe popped off. He had a great start. So if you are a fan, if you're an Alabama fan, this is the first year you're starting to not really have a lot of confidence in your quarterback, but you look at the array of weapons that you have, and you're like, I think we can work with what Ty Simpson can offer at the end of the day. So, guys, it's going to wrap it up for us here on our instant reaction and analysis to day one of SEC Media Days. We may be live tonight discussing all that we got to see. I think we'll be live for the next couple of days, just breaking down what we saw from SEC Media Days. I don't know if I'll be live tomorrow just because I'll be at work. I'm a regular college student as well. But again, guys, appreciate you for tuning into the show. We'll get to our last comment from Earl, and then we'll get up out of here. The other question is, Kalen DeBoer is the right guy for the job, and can he lead this team to the playoffs for the first time under him? Yeah, I think he can. I have them going 11-1. So we'll just see what happens at the end of the day. Guys, appreciate you always tuning in. Make sure you hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Make sure you follow us on X at Lucas_Hill23 and follow the Voice of College Football at THEVOCFB. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, as usual, thank you guys for tuning in. Do us a favor. Okay. We always need to. Stay blessed. No stress.